Pro Media Professional Live Streaming Service. Experience Pro Media Professional Live Streaming Service. Experience the difference when it's live. Pro Media provides you a complete range of live and demand streaming solutions no matter what your special event may be. Weddings, funerals, concerts, press conferences, conventions, seminars, workshops, meetings, religious events, and more. For more information, call 669-5376 or 609-5264. Experience the difference when it's live.
A pleasant good morning, and welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. This is our 8th episode, I think. Today is Wednesday, the first day of March 2023. Welcome to one and all. Welcome. Share the live. Let people know that we are on and we are ready to go. My colleague is already in the studio, ready and raring to go. We have so much to tell you this morning. I have noted that the people are here very, very early. But so let's share the live. We are here ready to go. Another episode. And again, I want to thank you all for your continued involvement in this podcast. From the numbers are very, very encouraging. Every week now, we have in excess of 10,000 persons who would have looked at the show either live or they look at the rebroadcast on YouTube or on Facebook. So share the live. And at the beginning, I want to again encourage you to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, but you could also like the Facebook page. Like the Facebook page so that you're going to get the notification when the program goes live. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will get, and you hit the notification button, you will get the notification when the program goes live. Because people still ask me how you can get the program. People are still asking others to send them the program and so, but you don't need to do that. Just subscribe, and once you subscribe, you hit the notification button, you will get the notification when the program goes live. On Facebook, you like the page, and again, you will be advised when the program goes live. And, we have been going regularly, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on a Wednesday. That's 12 o'clock Guyana time. Very soon, in a few weeks' time, the timings will be the same in Guyana and New York on the Eastern Standard Time. But I'm also conscious that we have people from other time zones, people in the UK, people in Canada, people in California. People are all over. I have seen from Scotland. I have seen from other places in the United Kingdom and further afield. So share the live and let people know that we are here. As I said, very early, people are here falling in very early for the show. Let me do the roll call very quickly. Before I do the roll call, let me say this. I've had complaints from some people about the roll call. Because as I've explained in the past, what happens once the program is scheduled sometime early in the morning at 8 o'clock or so, we go into YouTube and we schedule the program. And once it is scheduled, those people on YouTube can then immediately start to make comments. Whereas persons on Facebook have to wait until we go live at 11 o'clock before they start to, before they're allowed to make comments. So what happens? When I run the roll call, it's the people from the YouTube who are there for us. For example, this morning, I have a note here. This morning, before we go live, we had in excess of 45 persons from YouTube live. And it's not only when we went live at 11 o'clock, then we start to see the Facebook people. So Facebookers have complained that all the bigging up and all the acknowledgement goes to the people on YouTube. So what I'll try to do today, even though we'll go through the roll call with the YouTubers, I will find some time also to acknowledge you on Facebook because you are no less important. I value your contribution. I value your support equally as much as I value those on YouTube. So that is just the thing. That's the reason. It's not that I don't want to recognize the people on Facebook, but that is how it is set up. And let's go. In terms of the roll call, we see this morning regaining the number one position is Vibert. Look him there. Vibert regained the number one position. He came in very, very early this morning. I think the timing is what? He came in at 8:29. Then we have, if you look at the screen there, we had the next person was Joan. Joan came in at 8:40. Then we had Machu. Machu came in at 8:48. We had next Wayne. Wayne, I think Wayne is from the UK. Just let me know, Wayne. I think you're from the UK. Came in at 8:50. Then we had Patricia, a regular, coming in at 8:58. And then Princess, I missed you a few weeks, you know. Princess came in very early at 8:59. Princess is from Lamar Springs. I should have mentioned Machu is from Virginia. Joan is from New Amsterdam. Then we had Miss Squaddy coming in next. Oh, no, before E, we had Audrey, right? Or Aubrey, sorry. Aubrey coming in next. And then he came in just around 9 o'clock. And then Miss Squaddy came in, reporting for duty. So he reported to Sergeant Webster. Now, Sergeant Webster was one of our old section sergeant, Chick Webster. So Buxton reporting that he's reporting to Sergeant Webster for duty at the magazine. For those of you who don't know, the magazine was located on Carifesta Avenue. And it was a place where they stored explosives. So we from the TSU in our early days had to perform duties there. What he's saying here, he's saying that at that time, he was mad about working there, but it was preparing him for the weather in New Jersey because the magazine being so close to the seawall. When the breeze came in, he used to freeze there in the early morning. So West Buxton, I remember the magazine duty very well. Then we had next coming in Julian. Julian came in at 9:04 and continuing the road call. You see Junior there. Then we had Natasha coming in shortly after at 9:05. And then we had next Isabella coming in at 9:07. Sagi, you were here early. Jarvis, 9602. Sagi Jarvis came in at what time, Sagi? Sagi came in at 9:09 and he's greeting myself and my colleague. Then we had the next person there, Shatret Gibson. And then Lynette. Lynette is another regular. I think Lynette is from Barbados. I think it is. No, UK, sorry. Lynette is UK. UK in the house. Lynette, welcome. Then we had another regular, Kudawashi, coming in at 9:10. Then Cecile came in at 6. Well, even before Cecile, I almost forget Cecile. Cecile Chipper 68. He came in there at 9:15. Then we had Cecile following him. We had Colin. We had Cecile before Colin. Then we had Colin coming in next. We had Sherrod, regular now. Sean, welcome Sean. Sean was there very early from New York. Anthony coming in afterwards. As I said, a lot of people came in from YouTube early. Then we had next Anthony. Well, I said Anthony before. And the man from East Bank, Vibert. Vibert came in here very early as well, as usual. Vibert came in. Then we had Lorna. Well, Lorna, welcome. I don't know. I can't recall seeing you before, but welcome. Anthony was here. Anthony was here very early on YouTube. Then my friend Mark Gavin. Gavin, it was nice seeing you on Monday. Gavin came in here this morning, and Gavin came in at 10:36. Then my squaddy all the way. He said he's all the way in Arizona. He came in next. Then we had Jamil. Then we had Raul. We are Jacko from Georgia coming in next. Jacko from Dudley. Then my friend Dudley from Jamaica. Dudley is so far down the line. You came in, but you were early. That's the important thing. You were there before classes start. You were there. Then we had Charles. Then next we had Jean. And after Jean, we had Melissa. Then we had Winston. Then we had Francis, Keith. Then we still had YouTubers. Then we had next Barbara. Then Terence, 97, 95, young, reporting from duty all the way from Toronto, Canada. Welcome, welcome. Fall in and cover down. Fall in. Then we had Winston from Ontario, California. John is our next regular. John came in there this morning at 11:39. Then we had Simone coming in at 11:43. And then we had John Knights. John is the regular. You don't miss it. You don't miss it. You know, you don't miss it. Thanks to the greetings, John. Thanks to the greeting. Then we had next. Who came next? We had next we had Duan. And then my squaddy Doreen came in at what time? Doreen came in at 11:49. Sandra, we still on to the YouTubers, you know. We're gonna run through the YouTubers that came in early. Sandra came in next at 11:52. Then we had after Sandra Wayne. I think Wayne is from, he said yes, Wayne came in. We called him earlier, but he's from the UK. Then we had Pito, Ian, permission to join, permission granted, Ian, permission granted. Then we had Hazel, she came in at 11:57. Maureen came in at 12 o'clock on the dot. That's Guyana time. And then the first Facebooker was the secretary, Denise. Then we had Mark, cricketer from Tennessee. And then we had Haltia. We had Lynette. I think Lynette is from Barbados. Yes, I remember that Lynette is from Barbados. And we had Ulrich coming in. We had Natasha coming in. Regulars. So many persons. But as I've said, I'm going to run the Facebookers again because it will take a lot. So let me move on. And you know, in moving on, I like to say again, let's give praise and thanks to the Lord for allowing us to be here another day. The first day of March. Remember, the year is galloping. March is already here in us. So the first day of March 2023, that's today. And let's give praise and thanks for the Almighty for allowing us to be here this day and to participate in this program that people have said that they have found very, very, very interesting. Let me start by saying, I think the way to, let me start by saying how grateful I am, as I've said before, for all the support, all the contributions that we have had. Now, the praise and thanks for being in the land of the living, because this morning when I looked at the news, you know, the earthquake in Turkey and Syria that struck on the 6th of February this year, the death toll now is over 50,000. The death toll is over 50,000. As I said, for some context, when you talk about region 1 is 25,000 persons, region 2 has about 49,000 population, region 5 about 52. So that's to put some context into the numbers. 50,000 persons died. And let's continue to offer prayers to those relatives and the survivors, those who have been injured. And then I regret to announce the death of police ranks. We saw over the past week the death of Corporal 18389, Detective Corporal Alden Reynolds. He died in a motor vehicle accident in Berbice on Mashramani Day, the 23rd of February. I'm going to speak some more later on that and other prevalent accidents in the country. And then we had the death of ex-corporal Cornell King. He was 0557. Only last week we announced the death of another 0500 police. So Cornell King, I remember Mr. King very, very well. He always came to visit at the TSU, and we always had a good talk. King died recently. And then I got news that a former member, Horace Iben, 8521, he died in Canada, and he will be buried on Saturday. So condolences to the relatives and friends of those deceased persons, and let's offer prayers, our prayers to them, and wish the relatives all the best in this time of bereavement, in this time of grief. I'm bringing my colleague, Mr. Conway, because I think he knows some of these persons who have just announced as passed on. CC, good morning.
Morning, Paul. Morning to all our listeners or viewers. Happy to be in the land of the living. And I must say that I know all three persons who passed. The detective who was a crime scene man in Borbies. Also, St. Aubin, when I went, he was the guy who showed me how to write up occurrence and took me in hand. And then Cornell King was my friend, my buddy, and everything to me. We worked together in the Northwest, Maburumo, and since 1978, and we maintain a bromance relationship. Um, I will really miss him, and may his soul rest in peace.
Yes, well said, well said. When may the souls of all the deceased persons rest in peace and rise in glory. Now, the next thing that I want to say here, CC, is that, well, let me tell you that belated birthday greetings to retired Woman Assistant Commissioner Claire Jarvis. Clay was a member of the Police Service Commission with us. I think yesterday was her natal day, and I want to take this opportunity. I did so before on the what the chat we have, but I want to publicly wish her a belated birthday greetings. And CC, I'm sure you'd want to join in extending those wishes.
Yes, I want to wish her, and although she's now a geriatric, and but I know that she's not weak down the leg side, and her slip is not showing. So let me congratulate her and keep on batting, Claire. Keep on batting.
Yeah, now the next thing I want to congratulate my squad mates. I want to congratulate my squad mates. I know Frankie is normally on the line. I saw Doreen is here today, the 1st of March. We are observing our 49th anniversary as when we joined the Guyana Police Force. We joined on the 1st of March, 1974. A few weeks ago, I explained to you that the badge code 74 in 1974 came in two sets. One set came in on the 15th of February, 1974, and us, the second set, came in on Friday, the 1st of March. I would never forget that. And last night I spoke to my squaddy, Frankie, and he was reminding me that when we got in there and we had to visit shortly after this man, they called Mush. Mush was the barber, and he gave you a real, what we call a calabash cut. And yeah, 49 years. 49 years. And our course, this second half, started with 95, the male ranks, 94. I mean, 94, 86, Aline. 94, 86, Aline. And it ended with 95, 65, Fraser. 94, 64, 94, 86, Aline. And that's for the male. And it ended with 95, 65, Fraser. We had a name we used to call him. I think when he left, he went into the U.S. military. I have not heard or seen him in many, many, many years. Many, many, many years. So congratulations. And the women in that squad started from W344 Aline and ended with W369 Maury. She became Albert Corinne 369. And Frankie had a name. He used to call her. I'm not going to say it to you, but Frankie used to call her a particular name because we were in the same course and in the same batch. So congratulations to all our squad mates. I know we are going to have discussions about what we are going to do for the 50th next year. God spare life. We must get something, whether it's virtual, whatever it is. We have to get some form of get together to celebrate that 50th anniversary because we have maintained this close relationship for years, all the years. Those who remained, those who left, we have maintained that relationship. And I think we cannot allow for the 50th anniversary to just pass like that. We have had, over the years, several get-togethers. We remember one in New Jersey, one in Brooklyn. We had one in Guyana some time ago at that place in Church Street up at Clearance there. We have been meeting from time to time. And again, I say for the 50th anniversary, we have to meet again. So congratulations to all Core 74 members. CC?
Yeah, and I want to congratulate you also and your squaddies. And I'm feeling I'm ahead of you
Yes,
because
you are.
on the 2nd of April, would be 50th year for us, for us. We joined the same time, you know.
Yes, yes.
1904 to 1991, 19, we were all
Yes,
members.
I remember that course very well because of the TSP. We had people like Tapin and Trim,
Yeah,
Evans, Bartika George. Yeah,
yeah,
you know, a lot of those people at the TSU. So congratulations to my squad mates. Now
yeah,
moving on, TC. You know, I see Ulrich here. We have Jakey, we have Jacko, and many other cricket lovers. And I can't move on without mentioning that dramatic match Monday night involving New Zealand and England, where New Zealand won by one single run. That was so gripping. Jakey and I looked at it together. The last stages, so gripping, so gripping. And it reminded me back in 1993, West Indies and Australia, similar margin of victory. Courtney Walsh bowling to, I think it was Craig McDormand.
yeah,
They needed two to win, and Courtney Walsh gave him a short ball. And this one that was bowled to Anderson was fairly short and down the leg side. He got caught down the left side. In the case of Courtney Walsh, it was a short ball going towards his throat, and he fended, and it gloved through to the wicketkeeper. And the story goes that from the time it went through, the West Indian players did not wait for the umpires to raise his finger. They ran and started to celebrate. So while McDormand stood there waiting for the umpire, and then the umpire belatedly raised his finger. But for cricket lovers, when you look at that victory, we must come to realize that Test cricket is still a very exciting format for us purists. I mean, the people who come now and want entertainment, slam bam, and so on, they can't understand the intrigues, or as the old police said, the intrigues of Test cricket, the ups and downs, and so. So yes, wonderful victory. And I see West Indies battling there in South Africa. South Africa made 300 and had West Indies concede a sizable lead, and then they're fighting back because at the close of the second day, they have South Africa 49 for 4. But the lead is already a big lead, 179. So I know CC, you follow the game too. So let's continue to look and see what will happen there.
yes. And I saw both matches. The one against Australia, I remember it well. And I remember the ball actually followed him, and he trying to get out of the way, and the ball just follow him, you know. And I like England's style right now, you know, because they're playing good cricket, exciting cricket, and they're playing cricket that you'll have results. Whether it's
Yeah,
a
which
one
is
or
which is
thing, you know.
good, which is good, which brings excitement to that format.
Mhm.
And moving on, CC, the next thing I have here, Mashomani. We had Mashomani last Wednesday, big Mashomani celebrations in town. I understand, well, the rain did not dampen the spirit of persons. They came out and they celebrated. I hope you had a good Mash day, even though it might have been quiet. And as you had promised to relax with your grandchildren, I hope you had a good Mash day.
Yeah, it was raining, and I followed it on television. Uh, Police, good and bad. I saw them in large numbers. They gyrated well, good formation. I think because of the rehearsal that the man sits at the top who had them rehearsing at the sports club, large numbers. But for me, Paul, it was too colorful. I feel that they should have stuck to the colors, but then they add in two colors that make them look political. They add in a yellow and a black. They should have held on to the police colors. And what the yellow and black doing with the police there? Too political. It was too colorful.
Well, the yellow and black are the German colors, so maybe they got donation or something from Germany. So maybe they're doing that. But that is the issue you have. That is the issue you have. You have people who don't understand these optics, or perhaps they do. Perhaps they do, and they're pandering to the people them who have those colors. And that is the issue. That is part of the issue. It makes the whole organization looks so unprofessional. And I have seen the comments on social media too about the colors. And I'm not surprised. And I'm sure many persons who are many observers would not be surprised that they will use those colors. Those colors will be dominant in the costumes that the police Mashomani wrote. And when you talk about the numbers, I understand that the man who sits in the chair saying that it was only 50 police, all the rest were civilians. So as I did say some time ago, I saw the advertisement on social media where they invited members of the public to register. I think it was the Saturday before, and they'll be given free costumes and so on. So what do you expect? Once you send out the type of invitation, is every time they can be here, you understand, you narrate, Guyanese in particular with Frico, everybody's gonna come for the freeness. And I see now they're singing praise and they're saying that the numbers are reflective of the type of cooperation and the type of support, the cooperation or the arrangement between the citizens and the police. So that is what it is, CC.
Freebies, as long as freebies, you'll have them in large numbers, man.
Yeah, but yeah, you're gonna have them. Now, I want to congratulate one of our viewers. I know you're gonna be surprised. Congratulate a regular. I think since this program started, at least in the past 6 months or so, he missed once. He had some funeral to go. I'm referring it to my colleague, my friend from Jamaica, Dudley. Dudley was appointed. Let me get the thing correct. Dudley was appointed to serve on the Jamaica Road Traffic Appeal Tribunal. Jamaica has a road traffic appeals tribunal. And a little later, when we deal with traffic, I will read something about what the functions of the road traffic tribunal is. And perhaps we'll try to, I know they're listening, so perhaps the minister and his people will look to see what this thing is, what it does. But I'm going to read something a little more later about that when I address the traffic issue that I plan to do. So, Dudley, congratulations. Congratulations to you, my friend. I know that you're on watching. Congratulations to you. And I know that you will do well. You and I went a long way back. Long way. Remember, we went to Chicago, to the place there to do presentation and traffic when I was a traffic chief many years ago. I think it was Northwestern University. Can't remember the exact. I think it was Northwestern University in Chicago. You and I, along with some others, went there to discuss traffic and to do, each of us had to do a presentation. That was long. So we go a long way back. So congratulations again, Dudley. Now, I want to say this. As he joined me in explaining to the police corporate communication unit or the propaganda unit, and I see recently Kanu following them about arrest, the procedure. And it caught my attention again when a release was made about a U.S. citizen who, on his arrival in Guyana, was found to be in possession of marijuana. And he was charged, placed before the court. But the release that they gave, and the police corporate communication unit, I have seen making the same mistake, that the person is cautioned and arrested. That is the order in which they have it. The person is cautioned and arrested. And you can check it on social media. So if they believe or telling a lie, which I don't do, check it out. That is not the procedure. You can't caution a man or a person before the person is arrested. The person is arrested, told of the offense for which he's arrested, and then the caution is administered. In the United States, they say that then you read the person is Miranda rights. Right? You Mirandize him. So he has to be, she must first be arrested before the caution is administered. You're not obliged to say anything, and whatever you say may be taken down in writing and given evidence against you. You can't do that before the person is in lawful custody. And again, people might want to say that you're finding fault. But little things like these will go to court, and then you get brought into a lot of problems, and the matter is dismissed. CC, I know that you have been in training. You have been part of this training program. So please explain to them what should really happen.
Paul, you made it very clear. You're very lucid. You arrest and you caution. And it's as simple as that. But, so many things going wrong. And I call it the confusing communication unit.
Well, yes, yeah, because again, I see, and I know lots of young policemen listen to this program, and older ones and senior ones. You have to let them know what is the correct procedure. What is the correct procedure? Because here it is, they're going to go in court, and they're going to give evidence, and they're going to say, oh, they cautioned the man, and then he was arrested. and some liar gonna put some licks in them, and then sometimes they get confused, and then the whole matter collapses. Because in many cases, they only say that they caution, but they don't really caution. But
True.
when you have civilians running the thing, that is the type of problem you're gonna get. And I continue to lament the fact that it seems that the senior police, and I know that they have policemen who know the correct procedure, are not vetting these releases to make sure that the correct things are said. You cannot caution before the person is in custody. And if you look at you like to follow America, they will arrest you, tell you what you're arrested for. They caution you and immediately ask you to place your hands behind your back and you are handcuffed. That is part of the routine. We don't do that in Guyana. We don't handcuff people. They handcuff people selectively. So if you are deemed to be a political figure, then they arrest you and they put you through the pourboire, and arrest and shackles and all kind of thing. But when people are charged with more serious offenses, who are close associates or have contacts, no handcuff, no shackles. In one case, you put your hand on his shoulder and a body thing, and the man goes to court. But please, correct it. Correct it. Let the people, I don't know what they're doing in the training institution now, because those things are routine. Those procedures were routine when I joined the force in 49 years ago. They were routine. And despite what the man who is weak down the leg side will say, man, that man, you can't call a person a gender with which she does not associate. When the thing who talks about the past is the past and all that everything, those things do not change. They are still the same. The procedure to arrest, those things have not changed. So you must arrest. The person must be told what they are being arrested for, and then they have to be cautioned. See?
That's true. It told in simple language and language that he understands, and in detail what is it you're investigating. And then there are certain times you got to know when to caution a person.
Yeah,
You don't caution willy-nilly.
Well, let me say this, Commissioner Cole. Commissioner Cole is saying here that and they should inform about the rights to remain silent. But that is the caution. Because the caution says to you that you're not obliged to say anything. So that is what it amounts to. Your right to remain silent. You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. And anything you say will be taken down in writing, or maybe taken down in writing, or maybe given evidence against you. That is the same as them being told to remain silent. So you're telling them that they are not obliged to say anything. And again, these things have to be told, because you have scenarios where even before the person is cautioned, the person brought out some admissions or some incriminating. There are ways to deal with those. That is not for this part this morning, but just to tell them that they have to make sure that the order is correct. I know they're going to take up this one. I know they're going to take this one up as they have taken up many others. And if you are concerned about the accuracy of the statement, just go back to the releases from the Police Corporate Communication Unit, and the most recent release, I don't think that was the Police Corporate Communication Unit, but they had I think it might be from Kanu, but they fall in pattern. So the man, the American citizen who was arrested with the marijuana, that is what they say. I read it and I made a note. So don't come and say, I'm making up. I don't fabricate things. You're making these glaring mistakes, and the part of our role, big role here, is to correct and to teach. That's easy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, let me move on. The next thing that I want to ask you a difficult question. It may be difficult, but nevertheless, I'm going to put you on the spot. You and I are friends, you and I are co-accused, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind me showing you on the spot, not under the bus, but on the spot. We reported last week about the sergeant who was assaulted and hospitalized. Sergeant from the TSU assaulted by a constable and hospitalized. I have not heard anything about it. Have you?
Nothing, a thick wall of silence. Nothing, Paul.
Well, you see, that is the problem. That is the problem. And do you know, as recent as Monday or perhaps even yesterday, some ranks on the Essequibo Coast were charged for, I think was some assault story, the charge. And again, nothing. They're very selective, you know. The propagandists are very selective in the information they give. to the public. So it's not information in terms of what happens. It's things they try to spin these things to shed a certain light on these people. But when there is so much darkness that no matter what light you use, halogen or whatever bulb you use, you can't illuminate them. You cannot, because it's deep, 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 deep darkness. So that is what is going on, CC.
And Paul, the Glock, the firearm missing and rungs missing from the so-called SWAT. Not a word, not a word. It's missing, although the major crime unit was investigating, not a word about it. And we still don't find the one from Borbis yet too.
Well, and you're gonna hear anything, because remember the one in last.
Missing.
The one is misplaced now.
Misplaced.
The one is misplaced. The one is not lost, but he misplaced now for a couple months. So I guess you're gonna hear anything about that. Now, the next thing I want us to discuss, CC, is this high number of fatal accidents. Last week, the release from the Ministry of Home Affairs said that there were, I think, 16 fatal accidents up to that time, and that was a 100% increase. They had 8 for the corresponding period the previous year. They had 16 this year, and since then, I'm aware of 2 additional accidents. That is the one that I referred to earlier in the opening, Corporal Reynolds from Borbis. And then there is one with in the interior where a truck, and the picture is here. This is the one with, let me start from the first. The one in the interior, this is what the vehicle looked like after the accident. This is what the vehicle looked like, mash up. And then the one with the corporal in Borbis, this is the vehicle that was involved in those accidents. You can see somebody who looked like the corporal lying there. Well, let me say this. They have been playing around with this issue about the frequent traffic accident. They're playing around. They want to address this thing in a comprehensive matter, right? And I'm saying, given this is a national tragedy. The amount of people who are dying on the road needlessly, and the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Works, the police hierarchy seems at a loss to implement measures to address this thing. They seems lost. They don't know what to do. And therefore, let me suggest to them that, as I have done before, right? You talk about the 5 C's, you have to also speak about the 6th C. And the 6th C is corruption in the old system. Corruption in the system. There are cases up to recently, I think a customs officer was charged and put before the court because he issued a driver's license. Did you remember that?
Yeah, and the thing is that the fine officer will send it to the GRA, and then the GRA will process the license. And there's where the corruption is. I think too many GRA really dealing with those things. So the corruption, not only the police and the GRA, which will give you the cargage, you got to address them, and they got to take certain preventative measures.
But let me say this. Let me say this to CC. They even with the whole process, as I've said before, the thing needs a comprehensive review. For example, the old theoretical test should be examined. What is being taught? They also have to look at what happens to the practical test, who certifies. I have said before, it is time that those things move away from the police. Police examining vehicles to issue certificate of fitness. And the people who are examining the vehicle, like they are gazetted licensing and certifying officers, but many of them don't get a clue about the mechanics of a vehicle. So they come and they check your light to see the lights are working, the windscreen wiper, and that's it. So things like brakes, perhaps they look at the tire too to see the depth of the treads and so on. But the whole thing needs a comprehensive review. And this is not about reinventing the wheel. Many places around have the system where out of the Ministry of Transport or whatever it is called, as a unit that deals with driving for driver's license, do the examination, do the test, do everything related to driver's license. But in Guyana, police conduct the theoretical tests. And again, let me remind you that police don't issue the driver's license. What they issue is a certificate of competence. So having examined the person, they provide a certificate of competence to say that they are certifying that this person is competent to drive a particular class of vehicle. That is what the police will do. And then that document is taken to the revenue authority, and they are the one who actually issue the physical license. But we're saying that even with the process of certification has to be carefully examined. And the board is out there, people make all sorts of allegations as to monies that are being paid for people to get driver's license. Now, if you have a system that is so corrupt, where people pay to get driver's license, why are you surprised when they have all of these fatal accidents on the road? You should not be surprised. And now that you have these accidents, if you really want to get to the root of what the problem, do an analysis. Look to see all the fatal accidents you would have had over a period of time, maybe a year or so. Look to see who are the drivers. Go back, check to see how they acquired their driver's license and all of that. That is likely to give you a picture of what the real problem is. But you come and you talk about, for example, last week, one of the amphibians made a comment that, look, we blaming the government for the accidents on the road, but it's the people who are careless, people who are drinking and driving, and all kind of thing he came up with. But that can happen because there's an environment of an enabling environment. You don't have the proper legislation, you don't have those proper things in place, and therefore that is why you have those problems. You remember, CC, and you know it, and I asked you to comment on it, not so long ago, an audit was done by the audit department, I think it was Ron Singh, and he made some discovery which was made public. CC, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I always remember Ron Singh, I know him well too, and Ron Singh, in his conclusion, he said, I think 1,150 something or there about persons who are potential killers has been let loose on our roadway. Perhaps they're no longer potential killers; they are they are real killers. People getting licensed too easily. You pay a money and you get your license. The theoretical part of it is shocking. They no longer do tutorials. Just go and you sit down and being a computer and you think, I don't know what the checks and balances going on there. And then critical too is the practical. I think you had put up the SOP in terms of what should be done at the practical exercises, practical examination. In that, apart from the certifying officer, a general duty man should be there, and you rotate them regularly, so that and they don't do no night driving, Paul. I can't remember last I heard somebody did a night driving. The corruption is rampant. The corruption is is not only in capital, it is in italics. And unless we look at it, and what they're doing, they're just looking at percentage increase and decrease in fatal accidents. They're not looking at the other thing, the minor, the serious, and the damage accidents. All those things will come up to fatal, that they need to do proper analysis. Things like the category of persons involved. You ask question, is this a trend? Is this a pattern? Is this a series? Where are the hot spots? Do a proper analysis. Don't allow a 100% decrease or 100% increase. No. They're just scratching the surface. Analyze the thing. And they have persons who went to university, who got degrees, who get masters, and use them instead of you get a man with a doctorate that COVID-19, at Civil Defense Commission checking on rainfall and checking on flooding, as the case may be. Utilize, you have the personnel there to do proper analysis, and based on the analysis, you utilize your human and other resources to deal with the issue. Boy, so much percent increase and decrease. That is nonsense. That is superficial. Get down to the meat and look at corruption. Go back to Ron Singh report, and you see when many of the problem lies.
Yeah, well said, my brother. Well said. But I promise, again, I said, and this is not, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. Sister CARICOM countries have systems in place. They can look at this country, look at that country, and make sure, because this thing now with the road accidents in Guyana, the frequent road accidents, is not only a police problem. They talk about police, but police is enforcement. Police is enforcement. They say, well, police deal with education too, and we're saying that should not be. You have a Ministry of Education, you have a Ministry of Works. The education aspect should go to them. They should have, because education really got to start in the schools, as they did long ago with corp drills, and you had road safety talks in the morning, and all of these things are likely to contribute to a better road user, to less accidents on the road. But just to come up and come up with these nonsense figures without any proper analysis, and that is why you're going to have the problem. But I maintain that one of the main issues, based on all the evidence that is before us, is corruption. People are commenting here, people buying their license. People are commenting here that the people who get license can't even drive, never attended class, and they get driver's license. There is corruption, too much corruption in the system, and I understand that some of these things have come from high offices of people in these high offices who are part of this whole corruption process. And so, the minister, over to you. There's a traffic congestion problem. I don't know. And then the minister way of dealing with the congestion is to say that they're going to tweak the legislation to allow for diplomats and senior government personnel to have emergency warning devices on the vehicle, like siren and flashing lights. That's craziness. That is craziness. That is not addressing the problem that you have. So even if you have congestion, giving people flashing light and giving people warning devices, certain category, that itself will lead to corruption. That will lead to corruption, right? But the thing has to be addressed holistically. And I alluded earlier to the fact that one of my colleagues sits on a board, what they call the road traffic board in Jamaica. Let me tell you some of the things that board is mandated to do. I did the research, and this is under the Ministry of Transportation, they say, or Works, or Ministry of Transport. It says here, the minister said that motor vehicles owners and holders of driver's license will have an obligation to provide updated information, updated contact information to the authorities. In addition to the physical address, email address, and telephone number will be required so that contact can be made readily in the event that a notice is to be served on the persons for any reason under the Act. Notices may be a traffic ticket, notices of suspension, or directives to bring vehicles in for inspection. That's what the minister outlined. He goes on to say, meanwhile, the minister said that with regards to expungement of demerit points, all persons who were assigned such points on their driver's license prior to February 1, 2023 will have those points expunged, in other words, taken out, to begin the new enforcement regime with a clean state. So here you have, in a neighboring CARICOM country, they're talking about demerit points. Demerit points was being bandied about in Guyana for the longest while. I left the traffic, I think in 2000, I left as traffic chief. And since before then, they were talking about demerit points. Nothing happening with demerit point. They're talking about, look at this, drivers got to give email addresses, telephone numbers, and other contact information so they can be easily contacted. That's what they have in Guyana. What they have. When a person, and I had this experience as traffic chief and divisional commander, person gets involved in an accident or you see a vehicle violating, it's a long process, because in order for you to find out who the driver was, it requires you have to then prepare what we call a notice of identity and serve it on the registered owner of the vehicle to say who was driving the vehicle at that particular time. And you can well imagine some of the problems you get with that. Oh no, they didn't. They don't know. They did not give out the vehicle. All kind of problem. But you have to have this system, demerit point, and all of that. Now this same thing goes on to say, interestingly, I think I need to read this part. It says, of note is that motorcycle drivers are limited to carrying one passenger and driving on one wheel. And driving on wheel. Let me read that over. Of note is that motorcycle drivers are limited to carrying one passenger and driving on one wheel. What we call wheelies is prohibited And all motorcycles must be sold with a helmet. Go that again. They say the drivers are limited to carrying one passenger. So only the rider can be on the vehicle. And this thing what they call wheelies that we see so frequently on those roads so they outlaw it. They have a law prohibiting that. What we have in Guyana, I don't think we have any law prohibiting that. So those are some of the things. And then it goes on to say, additionally, a motorcycle learner must be accompanied by a licensed driver on another motorcycle within 6 meters and must not carry a pillion or at any time or operate for commercial purposes. Jamaica doing something about the problems they have on the road. And I said we like to copy things. So we can look to see what they are doing and make sure that we put legislation in place. But remember, legislation alone is not going to cut it. You have to have, you got to try to erase the corruption from the system so that it becomes meaningful. CC, you want to say anything on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. And then, Paul, I'm just going back to a research I did on my own some time ago. The driving school or the persons who are facilitating persons to become driver. I did my check, and over 90% of the persons who went to the driving school or who went to this person to teach them how to drive already get a driver license. I repeat, already get their driver's license.
Yeah, and the thing too, even when you come to that, we don't have any legislation to speak about driving schools and all this everything. What qualifies a person to own a driving school? What qualifies a person to be a driving instructor? It's just an ad hoc arrangement. You have to have a proper system in place if you want to address this issue. The issue of these frequent fatal accidents and other accidents on the road, you have to have a proper system. You have an arrangement, as we said, anybody can establish a driving school. You just advertise, you have a driving school, and people come. And so there's no standardization, there's no arrangement to say that you have to, in order for you to be a driving instructor, to instruct learner drivers, you have to have this type of qualification. Nothing of the sort. And those are some of the problems with what we find on the road. And I say again, corruption is a main issue, and the evidence is there. We have policemen who were recently charged and put before the court. You had somebody reminded us last week that there was a situation where a certain number of persons took the examination, and when the results came out, in excess of what took the examination was on the list as being passed. In other words, let's say you had 100 people write the examination. When the list is submitted, you have 120 people saying, they're saying that 120 people passed the examination. It is corruption. There's no doubt about that. It is corruption, and those things have to be properly addressed if you are going to deal with the issue. Minibuses, I say too, up to now, there is not a category of vehicle in law named minibus. There is no law governing the minibuses in Guyana, which people have said is one of the main problems in the road. No such law. No such law. So what do you have? You have people who go there, they're driving minibus. There's no, it's at the whims and fancies of certain people as to what qualification you have to have to be a minibus driver. I see now, again, they had confusion recently with the electric bikes. Police issued a statement that the bikes have to be registered at the Guyana Revenue Authority. The Revenue Authority came out and said, well, basically, they're not prepared for that. And we're saying that even that, it may require a change in the legislation. What are you going to categorize those vehicles as? Motorcycle. You have to do these things. You have to do much more thinking. Much more thinking. Is not just coming and issuing statements and trying to hoodwink people. It doesn't operate like that if you want to make a significant change to the system. But let me do, before we move on, CC, let me do some other shout outs. I have seen a lot of people, Facebook, Wayne is here, Facebookers. I'm not supposed to comment in here that the problem is inexperienced drivers That may be so, but who allow them to drive? Enablers, and people are commenting, Facebookers. I see Patrick is here. Welcome, Patrick. You're late. Lado, welcome, Lado. Welcome, Lado. Many of these things, people are coming on Facebook. Commissioner Cole speaks about people driving under the influence of alcohol. Yes, that is part of the problem too. We know that is part of the problem. So welcome to the Facebookers. Rhonda is here. Welcome, Rhonda. Welcome. And who else is here? Kim. Welcome, Kim. Another regular. As you see, I promise to make sure that you people, the Facebookers, are recognized. Dan is here as well. So I promise that I'm trying to stick to my promise to make sure that some of the Facebookers are recognized. So let's understand this. Ulrich earlier to the caution, he speaks about the judge's rule. Them people don't teach, they don't teach them things that any longer, Ulrich. So you have a case where the man in charge of the detectives in the division, the divisional detective officer, went to arrest the mayor. The divisional detective officer went to arrest the mayor and had to refer to his notes to read the caution. Let me repeat that. This is a superintendent, I think he is, who is responsible for CID in Georgetown, the largest division in town. He went to arrest the mayor, and in order to caution the mayor, you have to pull out his notes and read the notes. So where we gone? You know, any constable back in the day, you gotta know them things out of your head. You have to know the especially caution before caution when you're arresting a man. That is easy. I mean, the caution after charge and caution, that might be a little bit more involved. But that is what you have. That is what you have. See?
So true. And then they're looking at the caution at the court step.
Well, yes. The man, I had that experience, yes, turn up in court to answer charge. And the people told me that they are, and that is what they said. I have to be arrested for them to administer the caution after charge. That is what they said. And then the officer there turned to the other rank. I'm sure what rank he was, but then he took out a note and he attempted to read this caution after charge. So I tell them, I said, caution after charge is not read when a person is charged and before the court. They get mixed up. You see, they don't understand this thing. They hear the term caution after charge, and they were told by senior people, go and arrest him for caution after charge. Caution after charge is when you arrest a man. Let's say you arrest a man, he's at the station. You're going to charge him for whatever offense. You read the charge to him at the station, and at that time, at the station, you will read him the caution after charge. So let me tell you that again. Caution after charge, even though I was charged, caution after charge doesn't mean when a man appears in court. You read the charge to him at the station, and having read the charge to him at the station, you then administer the caution after charge. Not when the matter already filed and before the court. Not when the matter is already filed and before the court. So let's understand it. See, tell them a little bit. I don't know if there's anything I've left out, but tell them, man.
Yeah, and I remember the caution after charge, was embedded in me in my crony as a constable. I wish to put some questions to you in relation to the what you mean charge. You are not obliged to say anything. But what we say may be taken down in writing and given in evidence. And it must be in a question and answer form, and it must be done contemporaneously. That's how I know it. And there's it from the judge's rule.
Well, yes, and again, these things are sad because you have senior people who don't know what we consider to be basic stuff. Here you have senior people who don't know. So if the senior ones don't know, what do you expect the junior ones to do? And given the culture of the force, if the junior rank knows, the senior ranks are not going to encourage that. What are you telling me? That is the culture. That is the culture. So those things have to be addressed. Knowledge, right? Knowledge. And what Toro is saying, Paul, reading of caution is an American thing. Well, I ain't too sure about that. Reading of caution is an American thing. So when a man is Mirandized, nobody reads anything to him. Just if you look back, you're gonna see. when they call it Miranda, reading Miranda rights. So when you're reading the Miranda rights, one time the man is arrested, they tell you right away your right to attorney and all of these things. That is part of the caution. And perhaps on occasions, they might refer to notes, but most regular police, when they arrest you, know exactly what they have to tell you. See anything more on that?
Yeah, and they talk about the forbidden fruit of the poisonous tree, boy.
Yeah. Because once you start off wrong, that is what those liars are going to catch on, and they're going to bombast you about that procedure. And you know that once you are found not to have followed that, it's trouble. Once you're found not to have followed the judge's rules and administer the caution, it's in a violation of the man's right. And anything you say or do thereafter, difficult to get it in evidence. So the police have to be, the younger ones in particular, have to be taught that. CC, moving on.
Yeah.
Again, there is this, to me, what is a very disgusting thing from the man who sits in the chair. I don't know what they're looking. When you have the case of, see this Lieutenant Cooper when he died? Man turn up with media, with cameras, video cameras, streaming the thing on social media. So disrespectful. I saw something similar with the death of this Corporal Reynolds. Man turns up to claim that he's going to offer condolences, and they think they're all over social media. All over social media. The thing that there's just a PR stunt that cannot be sincere. This is just a PR stunt. And well, you know they're gonna stop. They're not gonna stop. But I'm gonna call it out. Because if you, as the man who is in charge of the force, want to go and offer your condolences, there's absolutely no need for you to go with big photographers and video cameras to have the thing plastered all over social media and across the world. Now, CC, what are your views on that?
It's true, and it turned out to be a trend. It turned out to be a pattern. Remember that on Maikoni too, when the police corporal was shot and killed. He went there.
Right.
The same thing going on. No way.
No, well, these people don't know better. They don't know better, but it is disrespectful. Yeah. I say this without any fear of contradiction. It is disrespectful for you to turn up at the residence of a deceased person and have it plastered all over social media, either on video or either on photograph. And there's a new trend. These people turn in politicians. So everything they see the politicians do for publicity and PR, that is what they do. And it should not be condoned. It should be called out. Now, there's one other thing that I want, well, not one other, there's one thing I want us to address. I saw a release yesterday from the police in relation to Bork. And I am not going to deal with the Bork in itself, but a part of the release caught my attention because I'm sure that Bork is capable and competent enough to address them. Now, what came to my attention in the release, it says that let me read what they say. It says there, as the head of the organization, and they're referring to the police force, it is the protocol to escort the head of state whenever they make community visit. And this has been the norm for the life of the Guyana police force. Let me read that back. And this is in I think, some comment made, and I made the comment on this program, that it seems that everywhere the president goes, the man who sits in the chair is there. I remember last year rodeo, he's there with the president and he's in uniform. And then they had some ribbon cutting ceremony on the East Bank. The president is there, and again, he's there in uniform. And they are saying, I think this is in response to something that Bork may have said, that as the head of the organization and as the head of the police force, it is a protocol to escort the head of state whenever they make community visit. And this has been the norm for the life of the police force. Lie! I was a divisional commander, CCU2 War, and I commanded a division for a long period of time. I commanded Borbis during the tenure of President Jagdeo. I commanded West Demerara during the tenure of President Jagan. And never, that has never been the protocol. That has never been the protocol. And let me explain what the protocol is for the viewers and for those people who are listening and for those amphibians. The protocol in the Guyana Police Force from the time I joined, and perhaps even before then, is that whenever the president visits a division on one of these community outreaches or whatever you call it, the divisional commander is the person who accompanies him. The divisional commander. So when I was in Barbies from 2000 right up to 2004. And you know, Barbies Region 6. In those days, the division also included Region 5. The president, Jack Dio, visited Barbies frequently. And every time he visited Barbies, I, as a commander, had to accompany him. That was the protocol. Larry Lewis, who was the commissioner, McDonald, who was the commissioner during part of that, never ever came to Barbies on one of those outreaches. Never ever. It is a police divisional commander who accompanies. And in the case of Georgetown, an exception was made because of the frequency and all the size of Georgetown and the amount of work the commander is. If he goes on those outreaches, a senior officer other than the commander may accompany the president. A senior in Georgetown only. But when it comes to the other divisions, Essequibo Coast and all of that, there's never been any protocol. And if you want to check with other people who are commanders, there's never been a protocol in the Guyana Police Force which says that whenever the president goes on an outreach, the commissioner of police, whether he acting or otherwise, has to accompany him. And I'm speaking here from experience. CC, you were a divisional commander. Let me hear your part on this too.
I was divisional commander I held a while in a division and you took over from me. I was commander for Barbies, East Coast, West Imaro, Region 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And on all those occasions, whenever the president visited, I, as a regional commander, no commission ever come there. I, as a regional commander, used to escort the president. Even in Barbies, I used to take him from a Barry Bridge. That's where the division started from. And I used to make sure that there no commission coming there or no other senior officer coming like no, we see the Apsman ending up in all about over the place. It is the responsibility, it is the culture, it is the protocol that the regional commander will be there with the president unless otherwise directed in terms of extreme circumstances. So the nonsense that they're talking about, it can't work. It is not true. There's a divisional commander that will take full responsibility and be around with the president and nobody else.
Well, the part that I want to emphasize, if it's a new policy, they're making the policy, and if it's a new policy, let us know that is a new policy, that you have a policy now that wherever the president goes, the commissioner must accompany him on one. Say it's a new policy, but when you're going to say that has been the norm for the life of the Guyana Police Force, imagine that the Guyana Police Force started in 1839. You had a president, first president, you remember Arthur Chung, after we became Republic, Arthur Chung. And so therefore you're talking from 1970 to now 53 years. And you want to tell me that for 53 years, at least, it has been the norm for the commissioner to accompany the president? Rubbish. That has never been the case. That has never, ever been the case. And I'm saying to you that if you want to say that that is the new policy, tell us that that is the new policy. Tell us that you have to go there and be a bridesmaid or be whatever you want to be. But don't come to tell me and others who know that that has been the policy for the life of the Guyana Police Force. And we have people who are listening now and people who were commanders who are still alive and around, right? They were commanders in the past 20, 25 years or 30 years or at least the last 53 years. So you can go and find out. You can go and find out if people want to be a little, do research. to find out if we are truthful or not. Go and find out. Never been the protocol on the Guyana Police Force. And I say again, if you are going to now have that as your policy and your protocol, well, fine, that's you. That's your call. But don't come to tell me and people who know that has always been the case since the start of the Guyana Police Force. It has never been the case. See?
That's true, you know. And Paul, let me just lead off to, and in that same statement, and I just like you, I hold no brief for work. I am not competent nor compellable to hold any brief for work. They talk about a strategic plan, Paul, and they've been talking time and time again about strategic plan 2022-2026. Let me just put things in proper context. The Captain Simmons submitted a strategic management plan for the Guyana Police Force 2011-2015. Started to work, and I think later on, Silal Prasad, they had set up a strategic planning unit, and I think Silal Prasad had disbanded that unit, but it's now on stream. They have a strategic planning unit. And according to this Captain Simmons strategic planning unit, it sets on several pillars. We call it operational priority, infrastructure, performance, partnerships, and operational priorities. Now I see 3 documents. Guyana Police Force, and I read them. I will go more in detail in writing and maybe on another episode. Guyana Police Force Strategic Implementation Plan 2022-2026. Perhaps they're talking about that. And then there's another one, Strategic Plan 2022-2026, developed by the Strategic Planning Unit. And the theme, and it's very confusing. Here's the theme: policing to safeguard and protecting communities, places, and the well-being of people throughout Guyana for 2021 and beyond. Let me repeat: policing to safeguard and protect communities, places, and well-being of people throughout Guyana for 2021 and beyond. It is very confusing. And they did some amount of tweaking. I think there's a buzzword now. They tweak the mission. They have a different mission. They tweak the vision. They have a different vision. And they tweak some of the core values. And they tweak the pillars that are set out in by Captain Simmons, which talk about developing people, infrastructure, performance, partnership, operational priorities, and they add in professionalism and accountability. And operational priorities, they tweak it and they left bare just operations. Now, only 2 persons have been talking about this strategic plan. They drop the word management, the strategic plan. And only 2 persons, only the man who sits in the seats and his cousin, the admin man. Ask the persons of the commanders about the strategic planning and they can't tell you about it. Ask the subordinate officers, they can't tell you about it. Ask the station sergeant, they can't tell you about it. Ask the subordinate officer, they can't tell you about it. Perhaps it is top secret, or perhaps it is a word is used confidential. If you have a strategic plan, it must filter right down to the bottom, right down to the junior constable must know about the strategic plan. That's how they work. And also you want members of the public to help you in the fight against crime. Members of the public must be aware of your strategic plan. It must be locked away in some room or locked away in some vaults, as the case may be. All must be involved in it, or it will not work. The thing is that many plans fail because we concentrate on the agents of change, while the victims of change are not involved. You have to give them the coping skills to deal with the plan. And if they can't have these coping skills, it will not work. You can't be at the top and say you have a strategic plan. And apart from that, I read, and like apparently they gone political. I read the document, and here it is. Guyana Police Force Manifesto Promises Delivered 2022-2026. Let me repeat. Guyana Police Force continuing document Manifesto Promises Deliver 2022-2026. I'll talk more about this strategic plan and this manifesto promises deliver in 2022-2026. But I think I will stop here for you to comment, Paul.
Yeah, well, there's not much to say because, again, I wasn't aware of this manifesto, Police Get Manifesto. This is becoming, as people have been saying, a political organization. They are a appendage to the PPP, and every move they make, this is manifested. So you have a police force with a manifesto and a lot of nonsense. And then again, as I've said, everywhere you see the president, the commissioner is there, and then want to tell people that is the duty of the commissioner to accompany the president in the outreaches. And Franklin said it here, the experienced police, that the commander goes with the president on these outreaches because you expect that questions are going to be asked about or issues are going to be raised about the division. And I know on every outreach that I went to with the presidents that were there when I was a divisional commander, people are going to always make complaints about the police and ask questions about the police. And that is why the commander accompanies the president on those visits, the commander. So for people to say that is the commissioner, that is not so. It is so now, but don't tell us that has been so from the time the force start. According to them, what I say, that has been so. Let me read it. They say that has been the norm for the life of the Guyana Police Force, the GPF. That has been so. Not at all. Not at all. And CC, let me move on. We're going to deal with this strategic plan and this manifesto when we get a chance to read it, because I have not seen it, and I'm going to read it and make my comments on it. So, but I want to move on to a subject that we dealt with last week, and this is out of control security guards, the out of control security guard service. And before we make comments, I want to show back one of the videos that I showed, or two of the videos that I showed last week as a lead-in to what we have to say. The first video I'm going to put up now, this one, as I indicated, I like to go back and explain to people what happened, because when they run the first time, sometimes people don't pick up what has happened. So you look at the video there. Let me go it back slowly again. Even look and see carefully what is happening there. The security guard is armed with a shotgun. He has the muzzle of the shotgun on his right instep by the toe area. One problem. The second problem, that based on what will transpire, is that there is a cartridge in the breech of the shotgun. I don't know why you would want to be on duty there with a cartridge in the breech of the shotgun. The shotgun looks like a pump action shotgun or an automatic shotgun. It looks like that. Then the third problem would be the finger is somewhere near to the trigger, causing the gun to go off. Let me play it back so you can see what I'm talking about. Muzzle on the toe, finger bottom, shotgun goes off. He shoots himself in the right foot. As you can see, there are people in the store. Luckily, no one else, I don't think, was injured. So the question is, what type of training this man has? What type of training to be there when he hops off like a bunny? He can't believe he just shot himself in the foot. All right, the next one now is this one. I'm going to come in. This one, the other man, security guard, shooting. Look again. He is there. pulls out a pistol, fire what appears to be like 3 shots in the air. Now, I played those videos to segue into the fact that I understand that the person who fired those rounds has been charged and put before the court. But it raises a lot of questions. It raises a lot of questions. And CC, I want you to join me and let me discuss this because, first of all, you want to know the person charged, which is good. I think he charged with discharging a loading firearm within 100 yards of a dwelling house, something like that. I think he was remanded. I can't be sure. But then the question, what about the other measures to be taken? I have a question here, and I asked him these things to answer them. Not only rhetorical, but to discuss them. Was he a licensed firearm owner? Was he a licensed firearm owner? And I would think that if he was a licensed firearm owner, then steps will be taken to have the firearm license revoked, because it has clearly shown that he doesn't have the temperament to own and use a firearm. And based on the reports, before this video was captured, for several other rounds were fired. So it was a Wild West thing. Thanks, Cheryl. Cheryl is saying that he's remanded. So that is what is he like. If he is not the licensed firearm owner, if he was a security guard, how he came to be in possession of this firearm? Was he on duty at the time? Was he on duty? How he came to be in possession of this firearm? It doesn't look as if he had on any uniform. Was he on duty at the time? Those are questions to be asked. And the man who sits in the chair, the Minister of Home Affairs, they need to address those questions. And then the fact that if he's a security guard, the fact that he can discharge a firearm indiscriminately suggests that there is no accountability for the ammunition. Because, if he uplifted to go on duty and he went back, one would expect that he has to account for the ammunition. But if a man discharging this firearm indiscriminately, then perhaps he doesn't have to account for the ammunition. CC, you want to come in here?
But then unless I'm not seeing clearly, I see somebody give him the firearm. So what happened with that person? Who is that person who gave him the firearm and he go and shoot out? That there's no accountability. And then the company got to be held accountable. There got to be proper checks and see they have a system there. What is the system? And if the company is in breach of the system, too many things happen with the security service that they got to take action. And the law gives, I said it last week, the law gives the commissioner or the controlling authority, who's the commissioner, the power to suspend for 1 month in the first instance. Well, you give them reasons why you suspend them, clear reason why you suspend, and you have enough reason there. And they have within 15 days to respond to you, the controlling authority, why the suspension shouldn't be extended and why they shouldn't be, and later on why they shouldn't be, the license shouldn't be cancelled. Those things are embedded in the act, but they don't answer the things, and nothing is being done to the company itself, the firearm company. Nothing is being done. Therefore, the thing will continue. I had a meeting on Saturday, and nothing really come out of it. No firm decision was taken. These security service are doing a whole set of things and are getting away. And security service, they got who are registered for the interior, the mining situation, to work on their mining claims, and they're in Georgetown doing security work at a cost for other persons. So the whole thing is sickening, and the police, they got the act and they're not enforcing the act. I read a book years ago, I think it was Alistair MacLean, Fear is the Key. I think there was a film in it. There's no fear that that sanctions will be thing against you. There's no fear that if I do nonsense, the police is going to come down on me. So they continue to do as they like.
Exactly. And a few other questions, because you said that if the company If the firearm belongs to a security company, what action was taken against the security company? Same thing you just asked. What action was taken? They need to examine what systems are in place to ensure that firearms issued to security companies are issued to bona fide security personnel for the tour of duty, because that is what the act says. I understand that there are cases where some security company will give persons firearm and they have it 24/7, whether they are on duty or not. They have it there all the time. And that is not what the law says. So all of these things have to be addressed. All of these things have to be addressed. And then, as you rightly pointed out, they had this meeting on Saturday, I understand. Minister, I saw something initially, the minister was there, and the man who sits in the chair to address the security, the principals, or senior person of the security companies. No release, there ain't no release as to what transpired there. However, I understand that one of the things they said, that look, when a security company or when a client requests a person to be there with a assault rifle, there's a client making a decision they want an assault rifle. I understand the man in the chair is saying that no one person must work with an assault rifle. It must be two people, at least two persons to work. What madness is that? Assault rifle? The assault rifles and the shotguns in the first place should not be there at these supermarkets and so on. I have said that repeatedly. If you want the security at your premises, some competent person should make a security assessment and make a determination that given what the threat is, what type of firearm should be used. That the client determine, I want a man with a machine gun, I want a man with an assault rifle, and all of that. And that is what we have willy-nilly, even with the police. If you recall not so long ago, a man working at the residence of an advisor to the minister is working there with an assault rifle. Working there with an assault rifle at the residence of an advisor to the minister. What was the threat? What was the threat? And then when the man was caught sleeping 18 hours after he was posted on duty, when the same advisor took out his, took a video of the policeman sleeping and plastered it, or caused it to be plastered, or allowed it to be plastered, however it got into social media. It got onto social media, and a big hue and cry. 18 hours the man was on duty when he was caught. And then when he was finally relieved, it was 25 hours or something at the start. Straight drive. That will come into to say straight drive. So he got a straight drive, 25 hours on duty. So who makes this assessment? That is part of the problem you have. The security companies are only interested in the bottom line. So therefore, they have a client who say that, look, you want an armed guard. And they provide an armed guard because it's more money they're making, right? But no assessment is done as to what the threat is, and therefore a professionally informed decision is made as to what type of security should be there. That is part of the problem. And everything, like everything in the Ministry of Home Affairs is problem. Everything. And I recall some time ago, it slipped me to say this on previous programs. I recall some time ago, when the current Minister of Home Affairs was at Works and Transport. CC, I don't know if you remember that. I was in charge of the cricket arrangement, security arrangement for cricket, T20, World T20. And there was a briefing at the police officers' mess. At that briefing, we had the divisional commanders, the senior members of the army, and several ministers of the government, including the Minister of Home Affairs then, Mr. Rui, who chaired that meeting. We had the Minister of Sport, Frank Anthony. We had the Foreign Affairs Minister, Caroline Rodriguez, and Minister Ben, and some other people. And he got up and lambasted the police about security issues. He had all the answers then. He had all the answers. He was at Works and Transport. He had all the answers. Now he sits in the chair at the Ministry of Home Affairs. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do, right? So he comes out and he's going to tweak the traffic law to allow for diplomats and senior government personnel to use warning devices on their vehicles. And let me just move before I call you in. Only this week, a person who proposed to be a fire service personnel tell me, or he messaged me to say, look, the problem, he was referring to the fact, last week we said that back in the day, the back rooms are of such a standard that police lived in the back room. And when there was a emergency in the division, in the district, you could have called on those policemen who lived there, even though they were not actually on duty, and they will come out and respond. The man said it used to be the same thing in the fire service, so they always had people there. He went on to say that the minister, that is what he's saying, that there's now a rule at the fire service that you have to be, when you go to a fire, you have to go in uniform and all your kit. So the man explained, the man said, well, Chief, what happens is that sometimes you're not on duty, but you see a fire, or you're passing thereby, you see this fire, and therefore you respond to assist your colleagues. You're in civilian clothes, you assist your colleagues in fighting the fire. Well, the minister, they're saying, again, it's an allegation that the minister has put a stop to that. The man went on to say that as it is now, his gears are normally in the cupboard at the station. So if there's a fire in the street where he lives, he cannot go there to assist in putting out. I find it unbelievable. But that is the allegation. That is the allegation coming out from a member of the Guyana Fire Service. CC, your comments.
Yeah, and Paul, I remember the meeting we had at the officers' mess, you know. I remember my good friend and my partner, Welton Trotz, retired assistant commissioner, who took on the minister, and the meeting nearly break up. I remember it very, very clearly. And by the way, I understand Wilton has some challenges. I want to wish him well. Now, the thing is that the police, they are contributing to some of the things that are irregularities that are going on with the private security, especially the supernumerary constables, and for them to have the documentation, for them to be sworn as supernumerary. What the police do, they do what I call a threesome. When an application is made for someone to be a supernumerary, three things they do. They send documents to CRO, the Criminal Records Office, for check to see whether the person had any conviction. A report to the special branch for checks, and a report to the division in which the person is residing. Now, the CRO wouldn't take 20 minutes to have that information because they have automatic system. Special branch shouldn't take 2 weeks. The division shouldn't take 2 weeks. So because of the delay in the process that is going on there, persons are forced to, hey, you got to work, I can get a little thing if you speed up the process. Or if not, they go and they buy a precept. Understand the business is trickling down now because they say that Conway and Slow talking that thing selling, so they easing up on it. But if the police do what they gotta do, it shouldn't take 2 weeks for the person to be processed. And also, I think Roshan can mention about persons in the interior. The person in the interior gotta come to town. They have police in the interior. And in terms of training, TSU ranks could go in the interior and train them. So the police, they themselves are part of the problem. So maybe they can be part of the solution. Paul?
Yeah, you're right. Because even with the trading, you're correct about the trading. All it costs a little bit of organization. People don't have to come to town. Even the swearing of those persons, no one got to come. Rather than 10, 12 persons travel to town, one person with the necessary authority can go in there and have those persons sworn. But again, there's no brain work is not being put into this. I understand that coming out of the meeting Friday again, or Saturday rather, based on our continuous highlighting of these issues with the private security, I think they were told that they're not issuing any further license to private security forms at this time. I don't know when they're gonna, but that my understanding is that is one of the decisions taken at that meeting. We're not gonna issue any license for private security for the time. There's a freeze on the issuing of license. Well, that is good. There's a freeze, but then you have to do the analysis and you have to do the work to find out who are the current holders of such license and what arrangements they have in place to account properly for arms and ammunition. 11 lost from one company, a few were recovered, and they're gone under the carpet. That big carpet where everything piled up, the carpet, the same carpet that the RAS report found itself under. And that is what is going on. That is what is going on. But time has really run. CC is all 1:37. I have another issue that I want to so we have so many things to talk about. But one of the things that I want to have it there. Let me see, what is it? There's one thing I wanted us to somebody asked a question this morning privately, and they frame it this way. What is the drill age cutoff point? I guess they were talking about members of the force. What age? And until the question was asked this morning, I didn't remember that there's a policy in the force that I think when you reach 50,
50, yeah.
you're exempted from drill and musketry. I did say that to him because that came back to me immediately. Some members of the force, let me tell you what a regulation is. That, in the force is this semi-military, so you have to do drills, you have to go on parades and all of that. I ain't talking about the parade where you parade for duty. I talk about parade where you have a march around the tongue and other type of thing. Or, for example, when you got to go to MUSH and they want you to go, the regulation says that once you attain the age of 50, you can seek to be exempted from drill and musketry. They say musketry is the thing with rifle and shooting. They say that's the regulation. Once you reach the age of 50, you can seek. It's not automatic. It is not automatic as far as I can remember. You have to make an application to be having attained the age of 50 and such a date. You're seeking to be exempted from drill and musketry. And then you're going to be told, yes, exemption is granted because it's almost automatic for exemption to be granted once you reach that age. I think it's not the same for officers, but for other ranks, you're exempted from drill and musketry, and that is published in force orders. That so-and-so person is exempted from drill and musketry. I know that well because when I was in charge of the TSU, remember TSU in charge of drill, those correspondents will come to us so we can make a note that this particular person is no longer capable or allowed to drill. And I think the other reason for exemption is if you have a medical reason. If you have a medical reason, you can then get doctor's paper to say that you are exempted from drill and musketry. So the question was asked. I did reply to the person, but then I thought it is something that other members of the force or members of the force should know. That yes, you can. They call it drill age cutoff point. When that drill age cutoff point is exemption from drill and musketry, right, CC?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You need to apply so that you can, and it's automatic. I don't think they turn on anybody.
Yeah, once you apply, and they see that you have the age, then it's automatic. Then it is automatic that you're exempted from drill and musketry. CC, as I said, time flies, buddy. Time flies when you're enjoying yourself. And but what else I have that we have so many things that we wanted to talk about. They're going to take a considerable amount of time. So maybe
you don't want to talk about those 29 persons that were installed in the police.
Yeah, let's deal with that because we have been putting off that for a number of weeks now, and I think we need to highlight it for people to know. And therefore, you lead the way on that.
Okay, a few weeks ago, 29 persons were installed in the Guyana Police Force, for the want of a better word, as court prosecutors. And they were all civilians. I can recall the man that sits in the seat, top seat. He went to Barbies for the award ceremony. And it was a young constable with 7 years service, was the best cop. And the man said he can't promote him because they had an excess of subordinate officers. So he didn't promote him. Lo and behold, but a couple of weeks afterward, 29 civilians were installed as sergeants in the Guyana Police Force to prosecute. I don't know if they were sworn, because normally you're supposed to be sworn as a constable and you got to take the oath of office, and then later on the commissioner will promote you as a sergeant. And they only would be prosecuting and nothing else. I don't know if they come under the Police Discipline Act. I haven't seen their job description of the job specification. They call it JD and GSs. I don't know if they come under the Police Discipline Act in terms of discipline. But the thing is that why take 29 persons off the road and make them sergeants? What about those men who are serving in the Guyana police force? Those bright corporals, yeah? Why don't you make them sergeant or even constables? But you take 29 persons. And I don't know what was the selection process. Because the last promotion, the admin man said that they look at gender and they look at race. I don't know if they use the same formula here, use gender and race. And when they look at gender and race at the last promotion, that they not fully constituted and legal police service commission headed by bishop at promoted persons. I don't know if, and when they did so, they not a female was promoted to sergeant, to assistant commissioner or senior superintendent. And also, we had persons in that promotion, the dominant race was not fully represented there. So the thing is that, why bring the sergeants? Is there a succession plan? There's no succession plan in the Ghana police. There's no structured succession plan in the police, and no career development in the Ghana police force. Persons are not led along a career path. We used to call it the rite of passage, that for you to become a certain rank, you have to go through a certain courses, you have to go to certain training, including university training and wherever possible, overseas training. So the police doesn't have a succession plan, and they don't have a structured career development plan. So you bring 29 sergeants, and it is not thinking strategically, it is thinking tactically. Those are persons who already have their law degree from the University of Guyana. Those are persons who are waiting to go to UWoodin, or waiting to go to Mona campus or Bahamas, or waiting when the government set up its own law school. So that is that in the next 2-3 years, they will not be there. So why not develop your own people? Their success, they strategic plan talking about development of people. Why not have your own people develop, and you bring 29 or 29 green people, and you make them sergeant? So what will they be youngsters in the police force? And why not use, because we had and I'm going to close out just so I know time is running. We had, when Larry Lewis was commissioner, he had what we call a 1-year special prosecutors course, which he conceptualized, I design, develop, implement, and analyze, where persons were taking off course for 1 year and given the training for prosecute in the courts of Guyana. And a lot of people jump off from the program and went to university. Some went to UWoodin. Gordon Gilhouse was in the program, and he went to UWoodin. He qualified. He became a magistrate. Henry went to UWoodin. Cooper went to UWoodin. A lot of other persons attended that program. McBeam, Karen Bash, Marlon Chapman, Leslie James, and several persons who saw it as an opportunity to jump off and went to university and qualify themselves. But no, you bring 29 green men and you put them in course and put them to prosecute in court. And Paul, by the next 2 years or even shorter than them, they will not be there anymore. So you're not thinking strategically, you're talking about strategic, but you're thinking tactically. And then again, how the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General, took the lead role. Where is the Home Affairs Minister? Not a word from him. Not a word from him. Is it another instance of political interference in the Guyana police force? I'll stop here.
Well, clearly to me it is, because I am aware of some of the issues of recruiting 29 persons as sergeant, because there is a number, the force establishment calls for a specific number of persons around. And again, I would say no, without any fear of contradiction. They have dozens and dozens of persons who they claim to be sergeant, in excess of what the establishment calls for. It is creating problem in the system, as you rightly pointed out. People are there saying that I'm working all these years, and all of a sudden you bring civilians And I read a release on the police that having recruited them, they were now trying to teach them before standing orders and all of those things, so they can now become familiar with certain aspects of the force. That is what you have. People coming from the road upon, they think they graduated from the law program at the university, and they're recruited directly into the force with the rank of sergeant to prosecute only. Whereas you have places you have sergeants in the force who came through the system, had to prosecute and then do regular work. I remember Larry Lewis had put a stopping to that. And because it was difficult when a prosecutor attached to the court superintendent's office or any one of those prosecuting office prosecutes in court, he has dozens of cases sometimes. Have to come up against trained lawyers, and then they're calling him to go and work when the night comes, and we have to clamp down on that. So, and not only that, but remember, the same thing happened with the Presidential Guard in 2020. People recruited from the road in August of 2020, and by September, they were promoted to sergeant ahead of some seasoned detectives and seasoned people who are manning stations. And people complain about it, but people are afraid to speak out. And if you go further, because look, let me tell you this. Unless they do something about the establishment to cater for these increased numbers, you have problem down the line. You have problem in terms of supersession, in terms of consequential promotions. It means, therefore, that the old place, the amount of sergeants, you have the establishment filled with the required amount. So people who are corporals and lance corporals, they can't get through to come up to get a sergeant. They cannot move up the line, because if the establishment requires 250, 300 sergeants, and just calling a number, you have 400. So therefore, they're not going to promote unless they change. Well, they can't promote because a lot of illegal stuff going on now. And the Auditor General long ago used to look into these matters, but I don't know what is happening now. I don't know. And if you recall, CC, is a similar problem we had some years ago when President Jagan instructed Mr. Green to bring 50 cadet officers. So, notwithstanding the rules identified in the Standing Order 22 deals with cadet and promotion, he wanted 50. And therefore, you have to get people out of training school in 1 month service and 2 months service to make them cadet officers, send them to the GDF. When they came back, they knew nothing about policing. And many of them have fallen by the wayside. And it's the same thing you're going to have here. Because like you, I anticipate and I predict that in the next 2 years, if so long, a lot of those 29 gone away. They're not going to stick around. They're gone away. Because already, some of them are complaining about the toxic environment in the force. The culture of the force getting to them. Big cuss out or abuse out in a particular office with some of these people and so on, because they can't understand, and the people are not going to accommodate them and tolerate them, and that is the problem that you have. That is the problem that you have. See anything else?
Yeah, and I remember them, but just to make the point that, most of them lost in the woodwork. It was 46 we made. But they got some very good ones now. And they should have looked at them and do career development planning. Deal with them, but quite of them get lost in the thing. And when they sent them to the army for 1 year, they came back. I had to get them in classroom. I had them in classroom for 3 months because the army don't teach policing. So, and you mentioned an interesting point that they had to teach the 29 standing order. Is it the standing order that we didn't review?
Well, the standing order they reviewed, because they claim that they reviewed the standing order. And if you look at the standing order, it still speaks about steamer fare and train fare, money for train. And this thing what they said they review. Look at it, because we did not finish. And the thing is a joke. The thing is a joke. So I don't know where they are going. I don't know where they are going. But they brought in these people. And having said that, a statement was made. I don't know who to attribute it to, so I'm not going to call any name. But I know a statement was made that there's a second batch.
Yeah.
A second batch is on its way. So for those corporals and so on in the system, I sorry for y'all. I sorry for you.
Finding works for the boys and the girls.
Yeah, finding work for people, finding work for people to do. That is what it is all about. CC, your closing remarks.
Okay, I think I've said enough, but I just want to refer to a statement made by President Obama. Shortly after he became president, he went to Cairo University and he spoke to the Muslim leaders there. And he made a very profound statement. He said, if you are stuck in the past, there is no future. If you are stuck in the past, there is no future. And overnight, we had the Arab Spring. We have all those dictators. They went their merry way. The point I want to make to the police is that you have to go look at new ways in doing things. Think outside the box. Use your brains. And next time we reach, I'm going to talk about the brains, how the brains work. There was an American Dr. Roger Sperry. I think he got the Nobel Prize for doing brain research. I'm going to talk about some of the things he talk about the brain, the left side and the right side of the brain. And we don't use the whole brain. You talk about whole brain theory. So remember Obama said, if you're stuck in the past, there is no future. Think outside of the box.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, and have a good day. Now, folks, as we said, we try to make sure that we have some other stuff on this program. You would have noticed an ad I want you to support. Let me gonna play it again before I close off. Let me play this for you to see.
Pro Media Professional Live Streaming Service. Experience the difference when it's live. Pro Media provides you a complete range of live and demand streaming solutions, no matter what your special event may be. Weddings, funerals, concerts, press conferences, conventions, seminars, workshops, meetings, religious events, and more. For more information, call 669-5376 or 609-5264. Experience the difference when it's live.
Yes, folks, and let me, as we come to the end of today's program, let me give you some background music to the program, and to say to you, stay well. Remember, COVID is real, so take all the necessary precautions. And I next week, I'm not sure we're gonna have a program next week, but I'll keep you posted because I have to be in court next week, and therefore I'm not sure if I can manage both activities. But you will be advised as to what it will be. So be safe until we meet again. Whenever we meet again, share the live. Well, not the live now because the live is almost at an end. But make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button to get the notification when the program goes live. Also, the Facebook, if you're on Facebook, like the page, and you too will get the notification when the program goes live. But for now, until we meet again, be safe and take care. Bye.